Good evening, YouTube. Here on this Sunday, 6:51 now in the PM. Um, Here with you today to talk about something. Well, actually, it started out one thing and it's kind of morphed into something else. But it is a easy chair, lazy ass chair, whatever you want to call it, flap. And if you look at the thumbnail, you can see this is going to be an opinion piece, my opinion. As most of you know, I bought a new head unit for my car some time ago, and I really liked it, and I still really like it. I have no problems with it. It does what I want it to do and has been working just fine. Now, that having been said, I wanted to run Android Auto on it. I thought there would be times when I would need the functionality of Android Auto. And there are some functions there that are nice. One of the things is navigation. I can basically say, hey Google, navigate to whatever, and it will show me the way, and with voice prompts and all that good stuff. And that's a good deal. And also, I was talking to Bob. You all know Bob. And I was telling him that at some point I was going to be out in the car and try to text him using Android Auto. And I did that yesterday. I went out to my daughter's for I had to go to a soccer match for my great-granddaughter Lainey. And then later on we did a birthday party for Lexi's girls. And so I thought, I pulled in the driveway. I'm just going to hit, I turned the key off, and I didn't turn the key off, but turned the ignition off to where the motor wasn't running, and got out of the music player, and I just went ahead and hit the little icon, the little microphone icon on Android Auto, and told it to basically text Robert Gibbons, and it asked for the message. I gave it the message. I have arrived. And it sent that, and that was that. So I went on into the house and did the things that we were doing. Anyway, after everything was over with and I was on the way home, I thought, well, I'm going to try this again on the road while I'm driving and see. So again, I turned the music off so I could hear what I was seeing. I don't know how many of you guys do that, but I have to be able to hear, or I have to be able to turn the music down to be able to understand what I'm doing sometimes. It confuses me if I've got music playing and I'm trying to do something. So, and I know a lot of people do that. But anyway, so I did that, and I did the same thing again. I just hit the little microphone icon. It's a little difficult to see, but I was able to see it. And I said text Robert Gibbons, and it's asked for the text message, and I said on my way home. And that was that. And I thought this time I'm going to leave it on, and I won't listen to the music so I can hear any kind of alert or anything like that on the way home, just to see if it gives me an option or whatever if he texts back, because I know Bob, he always texts back. And so he did, and I didn't know it until actually I got home. I was sitting in the driveway and I saw that he had texted back. So I got on there onto Google on my computer and started looking up, finding out how to make Android Auto reply or read the replies that I get. And actually there is no way of doing that. Now, having said that, you get an alert on the screen. Now this is a utility. Android Auto is a utility to allow you to do things hands-free. And if you've ever tried to look at a screen on a head unit while you're driving down the road, you will understand what I'm saying. Hands-free to me includes not having to look on a screen for a notification. It should say text from Robert Gibbons or something to that effect. Do you want me to read it? And that's the way it should work. It does not work that way. That's my biggest gripe. And so in the process of making this video to begin with, I tried to make it about, 3 or 4 hours ago, and I had an argument with my phone. Because every time I would try to explain what I was doing in the car, saying, hey Google, my phone would light up. That got rather old, and then I started an argument with Gemini, which is the AI assistant, and on the phone, and I could not get rid of that. And I spent the next, well, I don't know how long it was, but I spent the next good bit of time trying to get that off my phone, and so I could say, "Hey Google," without it popping up. So I've got that done now. I've said, "Hey Google" here 3 or 4 times, and it hadn't popped up. So anyway, I may make a separate video just on that, because that was comical, I tell you what. And Bob was texting me back. He says, "It's aliens, I'm telling you." And I said, "No, it's just AI. They don't have them take no for an answer." And at one point, I just saw it. I said, "Well, uninstall your stuff," and it said I can't do that. So it was kind of funny in a way, but at the same time, it was frustrating that you get something on your phone you can't get rid of. You should be able to have control over your phone, I would think. And if you don't want something to do that, well, you shouldn't have to. I had to watch 3 or 4 different videos to finally get it to stop doing that. So, but again, my whole point of making this video was that Android Auto does not give you an option to basically just tell you that you have a text, and it should, because having to be driving when you're driving, especially in the daylight, and you can't hardly see the screen anyway if you're wearing sunglasses like I do. I have to because of my eyes. You basically can't see what it's saying. Now it is supposed to be, and it was selected that it plays a chime when there's a text received, and I didn't hear that. Now whether it did or not, like I said, I had the music off, so the only thing that was going was the car, obviously. Noise of the car driving down the road, things like that. But I had it turned up enough to where, if it would have made a noise, I would have heard it, and I didn't hear anything. So my thought was it didn't actually make a noise. But my thought was, if I get that and I could just say, "Hey Google, play the message," or read the message, or something like that, that would be okay. But actually, it says you have to press on the notification icon that you get on the screen, and then it will read you the message. Again, I don't care how big of unless it's the full screen, just press anywhere. I don't know how in the world you can see that when you're driving down the road unless you stop. And that's what I would recommend if you're like me. I can't see those little notification icons and stuff like that. So even if I'm in the mode where the music app is shared the screen with the Google Maps or something like that, I can't really see the fast forward and the rewind buttons on the music player. Now if I'm in the full screen music player, I can see them fine. But on that little window that it just pops up, which is, I like to use that because that's just, I like that way it looks. But it's a little hard to even see that going down the road. So again, I even found myself on the wrong side of the road doing this, and a car coming, and I guess they thought I was crazy, but I got back on my side before they got near me. But so it's just, for an app that's supposed to allow you to keep your hands on the wheel and look straight ahead, as they say, or whatever, it misses the mark extremely bad on that count. Now, I think everything else works pretty good. The navigate, again, you can either hit the little microphone button on the Android Auto, and I was able to see that okay. I know where it's at, so I can just pretty much see it. Or you can say, "Hey Google, navigate to," you can do it that way. So I can't see why you couldn't do the same thing with a message when it's received. If say I did hear the noise, I heard the click or whatever kind of chime it is, and I said, "Okay Google, play the message or read the message." Whatever you want to say, just have it do that and then see if it does it. I'm going to try that, but I'm not counting on that working because, like I said, there was no mention of being able to do that where I looked. And that's another one of my gripes. Apparently, no one in the U.S. uses Android Auto, or if they do, they figure it's just easy enough where they don't have to put in any videos on it, because all the videos I saw were made either by people in the UK or some people from India. I think made a couple. They were not very. They were few and far between to begin with, and I thought, well, apparently people in the U.S. don't use Android Auto or something like that. I don't know, but I plan on making one if I ever get this straightened out in my head, so I can explain it to others. Because if I can't even understand how to do it, it's hard to explain to other people on how to do it. So, like I said, because for one thing, a lot of the videos out there are maybe 5 years old, and Android Auto has changed a lot in that time. And I try to find the videos that are 2 or 3 months old, because I figure they're at least close to being what they should be. And then there's a lot of manufacturer type videos, like Kia makes one, Saab, I think, or not Saab but itself, but a guy that has a Saab makes one. But it's just for the manufacturer's head units, and they don't really cover the third party units like mine. And so that's a totally different thing, because they've got steering wheel controls where I can hit the microphone button on the steering wheel, and it's just a different animal altogether. So I'm trying to work my way through this. Now I will have to go through again and re-enable the voice assistant, digital. I think they call it the digital assistant, and I want to try my best to just use the Google Assistant and not use the Gemini, because the Gemini just doesn't. If you're sitting here at home, and you're talking to somebody on the text or phone or whatever, or not on the phone, but on the like when Bob and I do a meeting or something like that, it's going to start popping up and getting in the way, because it don't take no for an answer. Because I said no, I don't know how many times when it asked if could I assist you or whatever. I said no, and then finally it popped up, says if you're speaking your reply, you have to text it, which is stupid too. But so I got to where I would hit the microphone button and say no, and then it says no what. So very, very frustrating AI is, and I don't like AI. I think I'm in good company there. I don't think many people do. There are times when it probably is useful, but not now. They are trying to, it's kind of like the self-driving cars and things like that. They're trying to push it out too fast. It's not ready for prime time, my opinion. And you hear stories. I watch Steve Leto, the lawyer, on YouTube, and he's always talking about the lawyers trying to use it to draft briefs and things like that in court. And the fact that it just makes up stuff, it's just crazy. So that, in my opinion, is just not ready for prime time, because it has to be reliable, number one. And if it's not, well, it's not worth a diddly to me. So I guess you guys may or not agree with that, but that's just my opinion on it. But like I said, that's what this whole video is about. So anywho, that's that. I'm hoping again to be able to do a decent video on Android Auto here in the near future. Now, one of the other functions that I don't agree with or like about Android Auto is the fact that it won't allow you to integrate with the head unit's applications. In other words, you can put it on your phone, and as long as it works with Android Auto, it can be used on the head unit. But again, if I have a head unit app, like I use my music player, it really doesn't react with that. And as it turns out right now, if I go in my car and I've got the Android Auto enabled, which is, it took me a while to figure this out, but basically if you got Bluetooth on, Android Auto detects that, or the head unit detects that and wants to use it, but then you have to make sure your phone is unlocked. Now I have since changed that to should work without the phone being unlocked, but it will come up with Android Auto. But the thing of it is, if you don't do anything with Android Auto, if it just sits there, the music player starts playing like it always does. So it is actually working with the head unit's apps, but again, you can't. I can't put that app on the Android Auto screen because it won't accept that. So it's complicated. But what I would like to have is a button on my head unit, and from watching the video I did of the demo and things, that you can change some of the icons on there on the home screen. And I would like to have Z-Link, which is the wireless ability to run Android Auto from your phone, and I'd like to have that icon on the home screen. And then I can, to get out of Android Auto, if I want to go back into the head unit, I can just hit the home button, and that will take me out of Android Auto and go back to the home button of the head unit. So I'd like a way to go back and forth, is what I'm saying. And I know I can do it the way I have to do it now, and this is stupid too. I did this twice on the way home yesterday. I have to basically stop the car, turn the car off, and then turn the car back on again. And once I do that and the head unit starts up again, Android Auto takes over and comes back. But I need a better way, and the only way I know of to do that is to have an icon for Z-Link on that home screen, because once you do that, then you can hit that Z-Link and it will bring up Android Auto. So that's the plan on that. And now I'm it takes me a while to do this stuff. I've got the phone figured out on how to get out of the Android Auto and get back to the head unit, but I haven't got it figured out the other way yet, or at least to put a icon in there. I know I saw some of the videos I saw on that unit, the one I have. But once I watch a video on how to change the apps on the home screen, I can add that Z-Link to it. And once I do that, then I'll have a way in and a way out of the Android Auto, and that should solve all of my problems as far as that's concerned. Because there are times that I don't feel like texting or doing like that when I'm driving. I just feel like listening to music, and if I do that, I don't want text popping up saying this or that, because it's just something I like. I like my music and my videos and stuff like that to be uninterrupted. And it just kind of pains me in the neck. It's a pain in the butt, I guess. But when I get people texting me or whatever that I'm trying to do something else, that's just the way I am. But anyway, so like I said, that's the plan. And then once I get all this figured out, I will try and make a video out in the car and explain how to do all this stuff. And like I said, it can be, it looks to me anyway, like it could be a very helpful application, because again, it will allow you to navigate anywhere you want to go. Basically, just say navigate to and give an address, or like I said, if it's a place in your home screen or your whatever you're using, and if it knows where home is, it'll take you home. And you can name locations, like if I said take me to my daughter's house or something like that, it'd allow you to define those things, and that would be helpful. Otherwise, you just put in the address, say take me to 1545 Hamilton Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. It would take you there. So, but like I said, it's just a matter of that. And then once you do that, I'm hoping that's the next thing I want to try. I want to be able to see if I can go back to my music then, and go ahead and listen to my music. Because if I can, then that way, in other words, I want my navigation instructions to be loud enough to where they overcome the music, or turn it down, turn the music volume down, or whatever it takes. And that's the part that I'm worried about, because I don't know if it integrates enough with the head units applications to where it will do that. Now I know if you're using an Android Auto app like Spotify or something like that to play music, it would do it because it's integrated into the phone. But again, like I said, I don't know what it would do. That's why I turned the music off when I was testing it out yesterday. So, anywho, that's my gripe. Hopefully, I can overcome some of that and get a way to do this. And like I said, I like to move on. And I'm trying to learn these things and get things done because, again, I think it can be a helpful application for the car, and especially if you're traveling, that would be excellent to know. But so, anywho, that's that. I'm going to get off here, and you guys have a very, very pleasant evening, and I will talk to you later.